So we'll continue with module number 2, which is vapor compression refrigeration system. Now in this module, we will first see pressure versus enthalpy diagram. If you recall your thermodynamics, there you might have studied PV diagram, TH diagram, PT diagram, and then HS diagram and so on. Okay, now this pH diagram, this has been introduced to you for the first time. Okay, so what is this pH diagram? On y-axis we have pressure and on x-axis we have enthalpy. So here you can see this red color part, this is vapor dome. Okay, so this red color part is vapor dome, and the topmost point over here you can see that is critical point. Okay, now to the left side of this curve, so this vapor dome, it is divided into two parts, saturated liquid line, and after the critical point it will be saturated vapor line. Now left side of the saturated liquid line, it will be subcooled liquid region. So this part is subcooled liquid region. And this curve from 0 to here you can see critical point, this will be saturated liquid line. Now in between we have wet vapor region. So here there will be liquid plus vapor. Then this curve, if you see, this is saturated vapor line. And beyond this, towards the right of that saturated vapor line, we have superheated vapor region. So what will be the phase of refrigerant in this subcooled region? So it will be liquid phase. Okay, liquid phase I have written over here. Now if you consider this saturated liquid line, so that will be a line where again we have saturated liquid. Okay, what do you mean by saturated liquid? In saturated liquid, if you add some amount of latent heat, it will start vaporizing. So this saturation curve, it is similar to, if you consider, if you recall thermodynamics, you have studied there at atmospheric pressure. What is the boiling point of water? Water can be at 100, right? So this is that saturated liquid curve. So on this curve, if atmospheric pressure is there and we are considering water, water will be there at 100. And if you add some amount of latent heat, there will be liquid plus vapor mixture. And then when you complete the latent heat part, you will get 100% vapor. Again, if you go on adding heat, you will get superheated vapor. If you consider steam, same thing we are considering here. So this is subcooled liquid region. Then we add sensible heat, temperature increases, it reaches the saturation temperature. Now after reaching the saturation temperature, which is denoted by this saturated liquid line, if you add latent heat, what will happen? That liquid will start converting into vapor. So here you will get liquid plus vapor. And finally, if you go on adding the latent heat, so this portion you can see this saturated curve, here on saturated curve you will get 100% vapor. Now if you go by the example of atmospheric pressure and 100 degrees Celsius, so at this saturated vapor line you will have vapor at 100 degrees Celsius. So saturated liquid will be liquid at 100 degrees Celsius, saturated vapor will be vapor at 100 degrees Celsius. I am giving you example of water, okay, of thermodynamics. Now here refrigerant is there, okay, and it depends on pressure also. If pressure is more, boiling point will increase. If pressure is less, boiling point is decreased. Okay, all these things we have to take care of. So this is saturated vapor, and if we go on adding again the sensible heat, then the saturated vapor temperature will increase and it will become superheated vapor. Now understand the different curves on this pH diagram. So we will start with the axis part. So if you draw a horizontal line on this pH diagram, it will indicate what? Pressure. If you draw vertical line on this pressure versus specific enthalpy diagram, this is small h, it will be specific enthalpy. So this vertical line will be what? Constant enthalpy line. Next, most important curve which we are going to see is constant temperature curve. So here you can observe in subcooled liquid region, this is vertical, this is temperature equal to constant curve. Okay, understand how this curve, what is the nature of this curve. So here in subcooled liquid region, here this part you can say it is vertical. Okay, here it is slightly curved. and then in saturated region, okay, wet vapor region, where we have liquid plus vapor, there we supply latent heat na, so temperature doesn't change. So here you can see constant temperature curve, it has become horizontal. Okay, and then why this is horizontal? Because during this saturated liquid and saturated vapor, in between pressure is also constant and temperature is also constant. So here you can see on y-axis, during this latent heating phase, pressure is also remaining constant, and this is the constant temperature curve which we are following. So what is the nature of constant temperature curve? In subcooled liquid region it is vertical, in wet vapor region it is horizontal, and if you consider superheated vapor region, you can see the nature. Okay, this is the constant temperature curve. So this is the way in which you have to follow the constant temperature curve. Okay, it will be vertical here, then horizontal, and then curved like this. Okay, next we will see constant entropy curves. So here you can see these center lines are shown. These are constant S line. So entropy is constant. Now same we will see on actual pH diagram. So observe that this pH diagram we are also going to use during the practical session. Okay. Now this pH diagram, it has been written over here. It is for R134A refrigerant. Okay, I'll zoom this. So this is for R134A refrigerant. Now what is this refrigerant? Why it is denoted by R134A? That we will see later in this module. Okay, now understand this pH chart. On y-axis we have pressure, and on x-axis we have specific enthalpy. Okay, what is the unit of this enthalpy? Please observe the unit. Pressure unit is megapascal, and enthalpy, it is specific enthalpy. Unit is kilojoule per kg. Okay, now this is the vapor dome which we had seen previously. Okay, vapor dome you can see over here. This is the vapor dome. So this region will be which region? Subcooled liquid. Okay, this will be critical point. Okay, it is written over here, CP, critical point. And this part of the curve, it will be saturated liquid. Inside here you will have liquid plus vapor. Now this right side curve, this is saturated vapor curve, as we had seen in the presentation. And right side we have superheated vapor region. Okay. Now if you observe the temperature pressure lines, they will be horizontal because y-axis is pressure. And then if you want to see the temperatures, okay, here just observe the temperature. Here it is given the unit. Temperature is minus 40 degrees Celsius. So in the subcooled liquid region, here you can see this is vertical, then it becomes horizontal in this vapor dome, and then you can see this curve like this. So this is the nature of constant temperature line on pH diagram. Okay, now the slope of the line, okay, this slope, it depends on different refrigerant. So this is R134A. If we change the refrigerant, the slope will change. Okay, but nature of line will remain same. Here it is around, it will be approximately vertical, then horizontal, and then curved. Okay, next, here you can observe these are constant entropy curves. Okay, so this is entropy equal to constant curve. These are constant entropy curves. Next, if you see the vapor dome, inside the vapor dome you will find dryness fraction. Okay, now dryness fraction of saturated liquid, okay, this curve, it will be 0. Then here you can see dryness fraction increases 0.1, 0.2, and it reaches 0.9. And for saturated vapor curve, dryness fraction will be 1. Okay. Now next part, if you see these dotted lines, hidden lines. Okay, here there are hidden lines. These are density equal to constant curves. Okay, so here you can see 0.4 is there, 0.6 is there. So these are what? Constant density curves. Okay, kg per meter cube unit is there. So based on this, we'll see one more pH chart now. Okay. Now again here one more pH chart is there. Again this is related to R134A refrigerant. Now if you see this chart, there is some difference. Okay, what difference you can observe over here is, we don't have, first of all, the vapor dome is cut. Okay, this is not circle. Okay, we don't have a curve on the top side. Vapor dome is cut over here. Okay, and second thing is, we don't have constant dryness fraction curves in this chart. Okay, next, constant temperature curve, it will remain same. Okay, nature will remain same. Here you can see the temperatures are written. So this is 30. So here there will be this vertical will be 30. Then this, it becomes horizontal, and then here you can see this curve. So this is constant temperature 30°C curve. Okay, here you will find 0 degrees there, and below that here you can see on this chart minimum is -40°C. Now this chart, if you see the unit of pressure, it is in bar. Okay, so whenever you see the pH diagram, now please note what are the units given. Okay, then you can observe the constant entropy curves. These are like this. Okay, these are constant entropy curves, and the density curves, again here it is given in hidden. Okay, these are constant density curves. Here the value has been written as 1.6 kg per meter cube. Okay, so this is about R134A. Next we will see ammonia. Now ammonia is called R717. Okay, now in case of ammonia, here just observe the slope. Okay, just observe the slope. These are the slopes in case of ammonia. Okay, R717. And if you consider R134A, just observe the slope. Okay, this is the slope. So here you can compare. Okay, this previous blue color curve, it was related to R717, and now just now which I had drawn, these are constant entropy curves on R134A. So basically the nature remains same. Okay, they are angular, but the inclination might change. It depends on different type of refrigerants. Now in case of R134A, these hidden line curves, they were density. But if you see ammonia chart, okay, on this ammonia chart, we have hidden curves as hidden line. Okay, here you can see this hidden line. If you consider this hidden line, it is written over here constant volume. So for ammonia, whatever the hidden line curves are there, those are constant volume curves. Unit is what? It is specific volume, meter cube per kg. But if you see R134A, there we had density. So always when you are going through the different charts, please read the chart carefully. What are the different units, whether vapor dome is complete or not, whether dryness fraction lines are there or not. Now when we are solving numericals, we will be using this pH chart where we don't have dryness fraction curves in the vapor zone. Okay, so our method of solving numerical, it will depend on what? It will depend on chart. If dryness fraction curves are there, we can directly read the dryness fraction from chart. But this chart we are going to use while solving numericals, and in that case we don't have the dryness fraction curve. So method of solving numerical will change based on the different chart. Okay, so if this chart is there, ASHRAE chart which we have seen. Okay, this is taken from ASHRAE Fundamental Handbook. Okay, here you can see 2017 ASHRAE Fundamental Handbook, SI units. So if you use this chart, your work will be easy, but we are not going to use this chart. Okay, why is that? Because here if you see the scale it varies significantly. This is, here you can see this is 0.01, then 0.02, and suddenly it becomes 20 megapascal. And just see the height for 0.01 to 0.02, see the height, and for 10 to 20 megapascal, see the height. So it will be difficult for you to actually take a good value from this chart. So we won't be using this chart when we are solving numericals. Okay. Now after going through the chart, we will see what is vapor compression refrigeration system. So we'll see what is this vapor compression refrigeration cycle. So if you see the applications like window AC, your refrigerator, okay, and other systems as well, most of the systems you will find vapor compression refrigeration cycle. So understand the cycle first. So there are 4 components. Compressor is there, second component is condenser, third is expansion device, and fourth one is evaporator. And at the same time here you can see I have shown pressure versus enthalpy diagram. Now if you consider inlet of the compressor, we will have low pressure, low temperature, vapor refrigerant. We are talking about, okay, suction point means we are talking about point number 1. Okay, now this point number 1, it can be either on saturated vapor curve, or point number 1 can be superheated also. Okay, or point number 1 it can be in wet region also. But usually if we are using reciprocating compressor, we don't consider point number 1 as wet region, because what happens is that compressor gets damaged. So if you are considering this compressor as reciprocating compressor, for safety purpose we consider point 1 as either saturated vapor, so point 1 can be saturated vapor or superheated vapor. First is that. So here you can see we have drawn 2 lines. This is high pressure and this is low pressure. So that is why I have shown over here low pressure, low temperature vapor. This vapor can be either saturated vapor, okay, as shown over here in this diagram, or it can be superheated vapor. Now in compressor what happens, we have isentropic compression. So 1 to 2, we had seen the nature of isentropic curves on pH chart. Okay, this was the nature. So 1 to 2 process is isentropic compression, and after the compression we have high pressure, high temperature, vapor. So here you can see this is HP, high pressure, and this one is low pressure. So point 1 and 4 are at low pressure and point 2 and 3 are at high pressure. So high pressure, high temperature, vapor. Now that enters where? In the condenser. Now in the condenser, that refrigerant, it will reject the heat. So first part, if you see point number 2, it is in which region? Superheated vapor region. So from 2 to, suppose this is A, this part will be de-superheating in condenser. Okay, then from A to 3, this will be condensation. Now what we can conclude from here is at point 3 we can get high pressure, temperature will be medium temperature, and what is the state? It is saturated liquid. Okay, now this liquid, again there are 2 possibilities. As we had seen for point 1, we had considered saturated vapor or superheated vapor. Similarly at point 3 we can have either saturated liquid or we can do subcooling also. So this point number 3 can shift over here. So this will be point number 3 and point number 4 will be over here. So if point number 3 goes in subcooled region, so that will be subcooling. So from this point to this point, this will be subcooling in condenser. So condenser, basically it is divided into 3 parts. Okay, I'll show that again. Suppose condensation, we go in subcooled region. Okay, suppose cycle is like this. So from 2 to this point, it will be de-superheating of vapor. Then from this point to point 3, it will be condensation, where phase is changing. And then from 3 to this point, there will be sensible heat rejection, and this point will be subcooled point. So at point 3, we can have high pressure, medium temperature, liquid. This liquid can be saturated or subcooled. Now from point 3 to point 4, there is isenthalpic expansion. Why isenthalpic? You can see on x-axis, enthalpy is remaining constant. So basically this expansion device, in this expansion device 3 to 4, there will be isenthalpic expansion, where you can see pressure drops and temperature drops. Then at the exit of this expansion device, we will have low pressure, low temperature. What is the state? 0.4, you can see it is in liquid plus vapor region. It is in wet region, so it will be liquid plus vapor. But what will be the maximum part? It will be liquid. Why? Because more vapor is towards point number 1. So at point number 4, most of the refrigerant will be in liquid state. Okay. Now what happens is refrigerant enters the evaporator. In evaporator, if you are considering this as refrigerator, so here there will be fruits kept. Those fruits are having some enthalpy value, so they are hot. So that heat is absorbed by the refrigerant which is there in this tube. So what will happen? That process will be 4:1, constant pressure, heat absorption in evaporator. Now what happens is liquid plus vapor is entering, and the refrigerant, it will pick up the heat from the evaporator and everything will get converted into vapor. So at the outlet of the evaporator, we will have low pressure, low temperature, complete vapor. Now this vapor can again be saturated vapor or it can be superheated vapor. Okay, so it depends. So in this way we have 4 processes. Process 1 to 2 is isentropic compression in compressor. Process 2 to 3 is constant pressure heat rejection in condenser. Then 3 to 4 is enthalpy equal to constant, which is called isenthalpic expansion in expansion valve. And 4 to 1, it is pressure equal to constant heat absorption in evaporator. Now using this we can calculate COP of this refrigerator or vapor compression refrigeration system. So what is COP? COP is defined as refrigerating effect, whatever cooling effect is there, divided by compressor work. Now what is refrigerating effect? Okay, where do you get refrigerating effect? Food products, they are kept where? In this evaporator. So here that heat is absorbed by refrigerant. So this is the part where we are getting refrigerating effect. Now what is the enthalpy difference? Just see the enthalpy axis. I'll clear out everything. This is the 0 of enthalpy axis. Okay. Now evaporator, it is from 4 to 1. So evaporation is from 4 to 1. So which enthalpy will be higher? If you see the x-axis, this point will be H1 and this point is H4. So which enthalpy is higher? If you see, this is refrigerating effect where heat is absorbed by the refrigerant. So enthalpy H1 is higher and enthalpy H4 is lower. So refrigerating effect you can replace as H1 minus H4. And this enthalpy value you will get from pH chart. Next, compression work. Here you can see 1 to 2. This is compression work. So this point here you can note down the enthalpy value. This will be H2. So what will be compressor work? This part is the compressor work. Higher enthalpy is H2, lower enthalpy is H1. So WC, it is H2 minus H1. Now remember here, what is the unit which we are using over here? Enthalpy unit, if you recall, which we had seen on the pressure enthalpy diagram, it was specific enthalpy. Unit was kilojoule per kg. Okay, so here when we are subtracting H1 minus H4, numerator also we have unit kilojoule per kg, and denominator H2 minus H1 also has unit of kilojoule per kg. So that unit will get cancelled and COP will be unitless. So basically from here what you can understand is refrigerating effect, unit is kilojoule per kg, and compressor work, it is specific work, unit is kilojoule per kg. Now based on this we have different type of numericals. What will be the different type? Now whatever pH diagram you see on this slide, it is called standard vapor compression refrigeration system. Now what do you mean by standard vapor compression refrigeration system? It means that point number 1, which is entry of the compressor, or you can say exit of evaporator, one and the same. Okay, it is exit of the evaporator or entry of the compressor, point number 1. It is saturated vapor. Okay, then 1 to 2 is isentropic compression. 1 to 2 is isentropic compression. 2 to 3 is constant pressure heat rejection, and at point number 3 we have saturated liquid. So when we have saturated vapor at point 1 and when we have saturated liquid at exit of the condenser, that is called standard vapor compression refrigeration system. Then 3 to 4 again we have isenthalpic expansion where pressure and temperature drops in the expansion device, and 4 to 1 it is heat absorption in evaporator. Okay, now see the type of vapor compression system. What is the type? Cycle with dry saturated vapor after compression. Okay, so after compression, dry saturated vapor. What is meaning of this? We'll see that. So here just observe the pH diagram. This second diagram is pH diagram. What is written? Cycle with dry saturated vapor after compression. After compression means which point? Point number 2. So here you can see that point number 2, it is on saturated vapor curve. So obviously point number 1 will be in which region? It will be in wet region. Now we'll again discuss the points. What is point number 1? It is outlet of evaporator or inlet of compressor. What is point number 2? It is outlet of compressor or inlet of condenser. Point number 3, outlet of condenser or inlet of expansion device. Point number 4, outlet of expansion device or inlet of evaporator. Okay, so cycle with dry saturated vapor after compression. After compression means point number 2, and here you can clearly observe that point number 2 is on saturated vapor curve. Okay, now TH diagram, understand the TH diagram, how to draw the TH diagram. On TH diagram, this is the vapor dome. Like this, there will be a vapor dome, and we have process 1 to 2 as isentropic compression. And since entropy is x-axis, 1 to 2 will be vertical. Okay, now what happens during compression is pressure increases and temperature increases. So here you can see point 2 temperature, it is more compared to point 1. So that is why process is from bottom to top, isentropic compression. So pressure increases and temperature increases. Then according to the given condition, what is the given condition? Point 2 is what? Dry saturated. So here also you can see point 2, it is on this saturated vapor curve. Then point 3 we have 2 to 3 we have pressure equal to constant condensation. So here you can see condensation is there and point 3 is saturated liquid. You can observe same thing on pH as well as TH diagram. Next part is important now. If you see pH diagram, 3 to 4 is vertical. Why? Because this is enthalpy equal to constant expansion. But if you see TH diagram, we have entropy on x-axis. So 3 to 4 will not be vertical, it is curved like this. Okay, so this is isenthalpic expansion, 3 to 4 on TH diagram. And 4 to 1 will be again pressure equal to constant, heat absorption in evaporator. And both points 4 and 1, they are in this wet region. You can verify that from both pH and TH diagram. So this is first type. Now we'll see the second type. What is the second type? Cycle with wet vapor after compression. So after compression means which point? Point number 2. So we will first see pH diagram which has been shown on the right side. So this is pressure versus specific enthalpy diagram. Vapor dome is there. You can clearly observe over here that cycle with wet vapor after compression. After compression means point 2. And point 2 you can see it is within this vapor dome. So obviously point 1 will also be wet. You can understand that. Okay. Why? Because it is inclined like this. So 1 to 2 is compression and point 2 is what? Wet vapor after compression. Then 2 to 3, at point 3 we have saturated liquid, and then 3 to 4 is isenthalpic and 4 to 1 is constant pressure heat absorption. Same thing you can observe on TH diagram. 1 to 2 it is isentropic, so that is why it is vertical, and point 2 it is wet. It is not on this saturated vapor curve, or it is not in the superheated region. It is in wet region. Then 3 point is saturated liquid, and then we have isenthalpic expansion, and then we have constant pressure heat absorption in evaporator. Next type, it is cycle with superheated vapor before compression. Now I had told you that to protect the compressor, especially reciprocating compressor, usually standard vapor compression system, point 1 is at this location and this is the isentropic compression. Now here this is a case where we have superheated vapor before compression. Before compression means point number 1. So point number 1 you can see on pH diagram, it is in which region? Superheated vapor. And since these lines are inclined, constant entropy, point 2 will be also in superheated region. Same thing you can observe here. Now what is the nature of this pressure equal to constant curve on TH diagram, that you understand. So this is the vapor dome like this on TH diagram, and this is the nature of constant pressure curve on TH diagram. So initially it is like curve, then it becomes horizontal constant pressure, and then it is again inclined like this. So this is pressure equal to constant curve. Now 1 to 2, so again on bottom side also there will be pressure equal to constant. It will be like this. So this is HP pressure equal to constant, and this is LP pressure equal to constant on TH diagram. So process 1, point number 1 is superheated. It is given in the type superheated vapor before compression. So 1 to 2, here you can observe both the points are in superheated region. Here also you can observe 1 to 2, both points are in superheated region. And here you can see on TH diagram 1 to 2 is vertical because x-axis is entropy. And if you see 1 to 2 on pH diagram, it is inclined. Then process 2 to 3, it is constant pressure heat rejection in condenser. So first process from 2 to 2 dash, here you can see it will be de-superheating, and then from 2 dash to 3 that will be condensation where pressure is remaining constant. So here you can see throughout from 2 to 3 it is following constant pressure curve. Here also on pH diagram this y-axis is pressure, so this horizontal will be pressure equal to constant. So 2 to 3 is pressure equal to constant heat rejection in condenser. At point 3, both the diagrams you can see we have saturated liquid. Then 3 to 4 is isenthalpic expansion. Enthalpy remains constant. You can see on y-axis. You can see on x-axis. And 3 to 4, you can see this enthalpy, it is curve, isenthalpic curve on TH diagram. At point 4, we have liquid plus vapor on both the diagrams. Then pressure equal to constant heat absorption is there in evaporator. And finally you can see point number 1, it is superheated. Okay, so based on the given data we have to draw TH and TH diagram, cycle with subcooling or undercooling. Now understand the cycle. pH diagram is shown here and TH diagram is shown here. So what is the nature of constant temperature curve on pH diagram? So this will be high temperature curve and this will be low temperature curve. And if you see this TH diagram, this will be nature of constant pressure curve, and here also this will be nature of constant pressure curve. So 1 to 2, what is given here? Cycle with subcooling. Subcooling or undercooling, it is after condenser, at the condenser exit. So we'll see point number 1 here we are considering saturated vapor. So 1 to 2 is isentropic compression on both pH and TH diagram. Then 2 to 3, it is constant pressure heat rejection in condenser where you can see there will be phase change. Okay, vapor is converted into saturated liquid or subcooled liquid. In this case it will be subcooled liquid. Next is in this condenser part, if you see it is divided into 3 stages here. 2 to 2 dash, this much part it will be de-superheating. Then 2 dash to 3 dash, this part will be actual condensation, where there will be latent heat exchange, and saturated vapor will get converted into saturated liquid at point 3 dash. And then 3 dash to 3, this will be subcooling. Then 3 to 4, on both the diagrams, it is isenthalpic expansion, where pressure drops and temperature drops. And 4 to 1, it is constant pressure heat absorption in evaporator. Now this is done by, at point 4 we have liquid plus vapor. Now why this is called evaporator? Because whatever liquid part is there, it absorbs the heat from the food products or from human being. If it is AC, it will be human being. If a refrigerator is there, then it will be food products. So whatever liquid is there, it evaporates when it takes the heat. That is why it is called evaporator. And then again the cycle continues from point 1. So this is about cycle with subcooling or undercooling. Now I want some answers from you. We have seen aircraft air cooling system or air cooling system, Bell-Coleman cycle, and this is vapor compression cycle, where whatever refrigerant is there, it is not air. Okay, so I'll explain you the differences. If you compare air cycle like Bell-Coleman cycle with vapor compression cycle, what are the differences? First major difference is air cycle can be either open or closed. Okay, but vapor compression cycle, it is always closed. There is no leakage. Second is, even if air leaks, it doesn't create that much problem. Definitely performance will decrease. But in vapor compression, if the refrigerant leaks, system will stop. Okay, you will not be getting cooling properly. Then next point is, in case of, this is a major important point, where in case of Bell-Coleman cycle, we had heat exchanger, where air was rejecting sensible heat. But if you see vapor compression cycle, here from 2 dash to 3 dash, this is latent heat rejection in condenser, where there is phase change. So vapor gets converted into liquid. But it is not the case with air cooling system or air refrigeration system, Bell-Coleman cycle. One more thing, if you see, in case of in Bell-Coleman cycle, we had refrigerator, where whatever air the heat was taking from the refrigerator, it was sensible heat. Again here in vapor compression system, at point 4 we have liquid plus vapor, and that refrigerant, it is taking latent heat. Why? Because it is in which dome? Vapor dome at point 4. So 4 to 1, it is taking latent heat. So that is why here we have written evaporator and condenser, because there is phase change. Then next difference between Bell-Coleman cycle and vapor compression is about COP. Air cycles, its COP is less as compared to vapor compression cycle. Okay, so we'll see a few other advantages of vapor compression cycle. Vapor compression cycle is smaller in size for given capacity of refrigeration as compared to air refrigeration system. So air refrigeration system will be large compared to vapor compression system. Then running cost of vapor compression system is less. Okay, that is why we say that COP is more of vapor compression refrigeration system. So that is main advantage, and that is the reason why we use vapor compression refrigeration system in window AC, split AC, domestic refrigerator. Then next point is air cooling system, it cannot be applied for a wide range of temperature. Okay, but vapor compression system, it can be applied for a wide range of temperature. If you consider refrigerator, the temperature range, it starts from -19. If you check the temperature of refrigerant in evaporator, it will be -19. Okay, then where milk is kept, there are approximately 4 degrees there. Then as we go down the refrigerator, temperature increases, and maybe in vegetable box it will be from 7 to 15. So there will be temperature gradient. So this is the temperature gradient. This is the wide range of temperature which we have in vapor compression. Now if you check window AC or split AC, there we can maintain from 16 to 30 or 31 or 32 degrees Celsius according to the company. So again here you can see, as the application is changing, we can change the temperature range. Okay, then there are few applications where we require very less temperature, like If you see right now we have COVID vaccines. Okay, so those are stored at negative temperatures. Okay, and it is much less than -19. So all these things are possible because of that vapor compression refrigeration system. Okay, or it can be cryogenics also. Then next point is, which we have already discussed, advantage is COP of vapor compression system is very high. Then what are the disadvantages of this vapor compression system as compared to air cooling system? Initial cost is high, and second thing is prevention of leakage of refrigerant is the major problem. So the system should be sealed properly. Okay, that is the point which you should remember.